After 13 days of traveling in the northern areas of Pakistan, through places like Naran, Gilgit, and Hunza, we woke up in the luxurious Kharpocho Palace Hotel in Baltistan. We took off early in the morning to head to Skardu, the capital of Baltistan and its largest city. This was our last planned day of sightseeing, and the next morning we would grab a flight from Skardu International Airport back home to Islamabad. After so many days on the road, we were definitely looking forward to the return, but you couldn't help but want to stay longer while admiring the beautiful sights along the way. Our first stop in the city was Skardu Fort, or Kharpocho Fort in Balti. It's the king of forts, and the hike up to the fort was brutal in the heat. This trail was the only way to visit the fort, and we were the only people there that day.
Almost there.
The views from the top of the fort were stunning, and it's obvious why the location was chosen to defend this area. On one side, you could see the entire Skardu city. On the other, a clear view of the Indus River, surrounding Karakoram Mountains and the Kalpana Desert. Next, we were off to see a much older site, the Manthal Buddha Rock. Much of the northern area has a rich Buddhist history, and the Manthal Buddha is one of the best preserved reminders of that legacy. Unknown to the world outside of Skardu until the 20th century, this carving has withstood the elements and more for over 1,000 years. To close out this trip, we were treated to some even more spectacular views of the valley from our hotel, the perfect final act to an amazing trip. It was bittersweet watching the sunset, knowing that we would take off the next day.
Show the ticket. The expensive.
As you can probably tell, this is not the airport. During the night, heavy rains had started in the region, and all flights were canceled in and out of the airport. But that wasn't the only problem. Given the unpredictable nature of weather here, flights were canceled indefinitely moving forward. The other option was to go by road, but our guides told us that if we wanted to drive, we needed to leave immediately, since rain meant landslides, which were a common feature of living in the region. Road travel could also be disrupted for weeks. So we took off by road immediately with Mohammed Saab, our driver, and we decided to have a cheeky little stop at Shangrila, a beautiful resort that we had previously dropped from our itinerary. We made a brief stop so that we could take in the garden before the long drive home. As we started our long drive back, dark clouds loomed above and around us. Our driver was worried. He expected more rain, and if we didn't make it past Babusar Top before the rain properly started coming down, it would be impossible to get past the landslides. Despite the concern about landslides, we couldn't help but enjoy this unexpected drive back. It was like replaying all the places we had come to in reverse, like the Tri-Mountain Junction, the Astor Valley turn where we had left the Karakoram Highway to go to Deosai, and of course Raikot Bridge, where we had taken the jeeps to the Fairy Meadows trailhead. We hit our first major roadblock on the KKH just 17 miles before the Naran highway turn, which would take us through Babusar Pass. We would continue to hit blocks like these for the rest of the drive, spending hours at each one. When we got to the other side of Babusar Top, it was already late at night, and we had to drive over large amounts of debris from the landslides with sheer drops on one end. What should have been a 12 to 13 hour drive ended up taking us over 20 hours of driving non-stop. We had offered to spend the night somewhere on the road, but Muhammad Saab flatly refused, believing that if we didn't keep pushing, we might get stuck. As the morning of the following day finally dawned, we approached Islamabad. In total, we spent 15 days in the northern areas, driving over 1,200 miles. If you watched this and the previous videos, thank you so much. This is the biggest personal project I've ever undertaken, and it's been my mission to finish editing this trip, even if it took me years, which it did. I might do a recap video or talk about what I learned doing this, but let me know if there's something else that you'd like to see or if you'd like me to do a recap. Thanks again.